Level 2, welcome to week 2. We're going to start this week with adding these minor scales. 2 octaves, hand separately, 3 harmonic minor scales, A, E, and D. Let's review A a little bit. Of course, for all of these, the fingering is still the same. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your right hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 for your left hand. Left hand, A minor. Right there, there's just 1 octave. Remember, harmonic minor means we have the natural, the key signature, with a raised 7th. So A's natural minor is just all the white keys, and then we raise the 7th to a G sharp. G sharp, thumb, 4 crosses over, and we come down. Thumb on the A, half step. And for this one, you might even do it an octave lower so you don't have to cross your body so much. Right hand, 1, 2, 3 to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Preparing that G sharp, the 4 on the G sharp. Thumb tucks under, and we continue. Thumb tucks under. Prepare the 4. Coming down. 3 crossover. Here we go, crossover with the 4 to the G sharp. Let's do D minor next, actually. D minor is the harmonic, the relative minor, right? It shares the key signature with F. So we have 1 flat in the key signature, but we're going to have 2 black keys because we raised the 7th. So the left hand, here's that B flat, crossover with a 3, C sharp with a 2, crossover with 4. 3, 2, 1. So whenever we have these crossovers, and you know the black keys are coming up, make sure you're aiming for both of those black keys, in fact. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you cross over here, 3, but the 2 is also reaching up, aiming for that C sharp. Should feel quite comfortable, actually, if you think about it that way. Right hand. Same thing. So when I tuck under with the thumb and realize my new position, my hand is now sitting on G, A, B flat, C sharp, and D. I'm all set. Every time that happens. As we cross over here with the 4, I'm looking for both of those black keys. And the last one we're doing is E. Alright, E is the relative minor of G. So we have F sharp right away. F sharp right away. 5, 4 on the F sharp. And then the only other black key we have is this raised 7th, D sharp. Crossover with the 4 to the F sharp. Always looking for these black keys. Tuck under with thumb. Is your 4th finger sitting on the F sharp after you've done that? Black key. Black key. And then the right hand. Black key. Make sure you're getting that set. Black key. There. So we'll be adding the minor chord progression this week, which you can also find on that sheet on Canvas. There is 1 less chord in this progression. We leave out the 2-6 chord. So take a second, if you haven't already, to write the Roman numerals in. Make sure you're minding whether it's a minor or major chord. So if it's a minor chord, you use the lowercase, and if it's major, you use the uppercase. So we have a 1 chord. I'll read as it's written in A minor. This is one of the 3 we're adding this week, right? Followed by a 6 chord. Followed by the 4 chord. Cadential 6-4. 5-7. Right, so very similar to the major progression, descending left hand, descending by thirds, outlining a 4 chord. But then it goes immediately to the 5, the cadential 6/4, down the octave. So we're only missing that repeated D, the repeated third note there. That's all it is. Okay, in the right hand, again, same chords. The quality of them changes now that we're in a minor key. So we have a minor chord to start. You could start 1, 2, 4 or 1, 3, 5. Either one is okay. 1, 2, 4 for me. 1, 2, 5 on this, which is a major chord, right? The middle note goes up. Now we have a minor 4 chord. Back to the 1 chord, 5 chord, and 1 chord. Which you could have ended up doing 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, or if you started 1, 3, 5, you also finish with 1, 3, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5. All together again, it sounds. And remember again, if you have these sharps, which all of these, I believe all of these this week do. Yep, all of these, the 5, 7 will involve a thumb on a black key. Make sure you're lifting your hand, moving it in, and not turning the wrist in order to get the thumb over there. Moving in and coming back out to play. Again, this one is actually written as opposed to the major one. This is written an octave apart. So as it's written here, the A is just below middle C in the left hand and the chord is above in the right hand. Let's just quickly go through the other ones. So here is D minor. Right, D minor key signature. We have a B flat. So your left hand should already be set. I'm already in anticipation of the D, B flat, G. I have 1, 2, 4 in outlining that 4 chord. Top note goes up in the right hand. Middle note goes up in the right hand. Everything goes back to the 1 chord. 5 chords, so we reach in for that. And we're going to come back out for the 1 chord. E minor. There's an F sharp in the key signature, and then we'll also have a D sharp at the end, right? So E minor. My left hand's just sitting on white keys, that's fine. To the B. 5, 7. We move in for that, and we come back out for the 1. Okay, an exception to the rule of new material being bold font is that Motherless Child is also a new piece for this week, so I'll take some time now to go through that with you. This is a play and sing with the left hand doing single notes and right hand strumming chords. The keys we will be transposing this into are E and A. For the purposes of teaching it, I'll do it printed in D minor, and you can learn it that way, and then you can just transpose it to the other keys as appropriate. So I would recommend, right away, if you can, take the time now. Why don't we do this together? We'll write in the Roman numerals for these, because it'll be much easier to transpose Roman numerals than to think D minor, whatever the chord may be, and transpose it that way. So a D minor chord is a 1 chord. And if you would like, you can write that in every measure that it appears. We've removed from the third measure the G minor chord. So it's just going to be 1 all the way across the top line. We move to a G minor, which is a 4 chord on the second line. 2 measures of that. 3 measures of that, in fact, because we got rid of the A7. And then back to the 1. I guess see if my other pencil will work. Okay, back to the 1 chord at the end of the second line for several measures. Continue with that. Keeps going. B flat. That is a uppercase now, 6 chord. Now, the last measure of that third line, that is a 1 chord, yes, but we're making it a 1, 6, 4, so that'll affect what the bass note is. Okay, so that's a 1, 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. again, 6, 1, 6, 4, or cadential 6, 4 you may call it, 5, 7, 1. So you can do this, let's just talk about the right hand for a second. You can do this either starting in root position or starting with a first inversion chord. So let's first go through it root position. You just have a 1 chord, and I'm only going to go through the changes. So we have a 1 for quite some time, then we go to a 4, just like the chord progression, back to a 1. Then we have a 6, B flat major, back to a 1, it's a cadential 6, 4, but that doesn't affect the right hand, to 5, to 1. B flat, cadential 6, 4, 5, 1. So that's the same voicing we use in the chord progressions. Let's add the left hand to that and see what that sounds like. 1 chord, again I'm just going to go through the changes, so we're kind of just zooming along here. 1, a 4, back to a 1, to a 6, just like the progression, 1, 6, 4, 5, to 1, to the 6, 1, 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. So that's starting in a root position with the right hand. You could instead maybe start with the first inversion chord. I'm going to go down. Instead of shifting up 1 inversion, I'm going to go down. So I'm kind of straddling the middle C here. So I have F, A, D. So 1 chord, then we have a 4 chord, which means the bottom 2 notes are going up. Back to a 1 chord for quite some time. Then we have a 6 chord, middle note changes. Back to a 1, it's the 1, 6, 4. It doesn't affect us. To the 5, 7. For this, I'm going to play G, A, and C sharp. So from the 1 to the 5, it kind of closes in. 1 to the 5, back to 1, 6, 1, 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. With the left hand, sounds like this. 1 chord, to the 4 chord, to the 1 chord, to the 6, 1, 6, 4, 5, 7, to 1, to the 6, cadential 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. So however you would like to do that is okay. Root position chord to start in the right hand, or a first inversion. What you can't do is just hop between all these root position chords. You got to start in one position, and then you're finding the nearby chords. So the voicing and inversions change depending how you started. So that's how it goes. You'll find as you practice this, there's some dissonance in between the vocal line and the accompaniment. So you might take a moment to solfege through the melody. Me, so, me, fa, so, fa, me, do. Me, fa, 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 me, fa, so, fa, me, do. Me, so, me, fa, so, fa, me, do. Do, me, do, so, do, re, do, me, do, so, ti, do. And you might try that with the accompaniment. Me, so, me, fa, so, fa, me, do. Me, there it is. We have an F against a G minor chord. Me, fa, 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 me, fa, so, fa, me, do. And also we end up with a so, fa, me, do. An A against a G minor chord. Me, so, me, fa, so, fa, me, do. Do, me, do, so, do, re, do, me, do, so, ti, do. And we'll do strumming. I was just kind of building each element in, so your right hand will lightly roll the chord up. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a here for me, it's a little bit low in my voice. We're in D minor. We're going to transpose to E minor. So that'll kind of be probably a little bit more comfortable for me personally. But I want to talk about A minor, which is either going to be lower or significantly higher than the other keys. So if it's sometimes I feel, if I go down, sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way. So I don't have those notes. So maybe for this, the last two phrases of this piece, a long way from home, a long way from home. So like your other semesters, part of the challenge with these pieces, and what you need to practice most, perhaps, if the chords and the piano playing isn't that difficult, is just having a plan for how you're going to sing this. So if it goes into a less comfortable register for you, you need a way of accommodating that, either by switching octaves throughout or starting in the higher octave or whatever it may be. By the time of your exam, I expect you to have a plan for how you sing that so you can sing all the way through the piece without any difficulties. The new piece in the Alfred book is on page 191. This is the Little Fantasy Study. There's a lot of moving notes in this piece, right? You can see that right off the bat. What key are we in? A minor, 2-4. You can see that the hands both share the workload, right? So they go between either having quick notes, these quick 16th notes, or having chords of some kind. Let's look at the hands that have the chords first. So it begins with the left hand, and we'll pick up the right hand in measure 9. A minor. Why don't you just sit yourself in a sort of A minor position, 5-3-1, as they indicate on the first measure there. So left hand lifts on the rest, 1-2-5. Kind of have this sus4 chord, which means it's a suspension of a 4 that will resolve to the 3 in the next measure. So sus4, back to the 1 chord. Then we have that repeated. Repeated. Then we have an outline of a 5 chord. Just the G sharp and the E, and kindly they've given you 1-5 as fingering. Good. Let's look at the left hand, the right hand, excuse me, measure 9. And so look, the position of measure 8 is mirrored in the position of measure 9 for the right hand. Kind of this back and forth motion, right? So don't turn that wrist, it's just like the chord progression, in and out. And then we have more quick notes there. Let's pick it up again, left hand, measure 19, 18, 17. Ready, and lift, 1, 2, 1, 2, sus, chord, back to 1, lift, lift, 1 chord, sus chord. Looking ahead, we have to shift down, don't we? To this position of a 6th between 1 and 5, then up. Good. Now I'm going to introduce something now that will apply to both hands throughout the piece in various ways. So let's look at together measure 25. We have a 1 chord, and now we have to change our hand position. Instead of just lifting, I'm looking for the D and the B. There, right? Play that 1 chord and think, what kind of guidepost do you have in this position, kind of connecting point, that will allow you to find the next position without looking? Right? So for me, you can I would either think of the A or the C of the first chord, or both, and how they are, again, straddling the B. Right? So, this position, Your thumb is going to go where your fourth finger just was. So that's what I'm thinking. Replacing the 4 essentially with the thumb. And then the next one you just go up a step. So that's a little bit easier. Okay, right hand. From the top, we'll do the quick notes now. Goal number 1 with this. The positions are pretty simple, but make sure you're playing these 16th notes evenly. It's kind of easy to just let them slough off like that. And as an exercise, as you're learning this, I'd like you to do this. We have the slur, right? Da 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 dum, da 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 dum. That those are little different phraselets, small phrases. I want you to hold on to that last note, just for now, for practice. So you're really seeing the connection between one position and the next, and the adjustments we have to make between them. So we have this one chord position, A minor. Then, as you're holding the pinky, the thumb needs to come up a little bit. So your hand kind of in this position, and then you'll see the thumb shift up, and then your hand will readjust for the next one. Thumb comes up a little bit. Now, you end again in the position of a 5th, but the thumb now needs to reach down for a 6th. So your hand will open up just slightly. Ba da 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 da. As you're holding the 5, just open up slightly to get the 6th. Closes in slightly, opens up. Then you stay put, close in slightly, open. Good. Let's look at the left hand. Measure 9. Starting on E. This is like an E major scale. Right? So make sure you have those black keys set. Now apply that same idea. Hold on to the B. And your 5 should be sitting on the A at this point. 5 moves up. So you're kind of between the 2 positions right now. And as soon as you start playing that 5, then your hand can kind of snap into place. Play the 5 and the rest of the hand can snap into place, and now you're outlining a 5th again. Good, so between those 2 measures, then we have an octave. So think of that like your chord progression motion. Thumb, open up, octave. Right hand picks up here, measure 13. Left hand goes back down to the E. Right hand goes up an octave. Good. And then the right hand picks it up again in measure 17. Here we are. Inverted, going down this time. So what did you do there? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hand slightly opens up. Hand slightly closes in. Again, here we go, 21. Same thing, opens up. Closes in. Here you go again. 27. Now we do have to lift. Right hand chords. Good, let's see if we can put this all together. Maintaining that connection between the measures. I'd like you to do this for at least the first week of learning this. So continue with the connection between the 16th note measures. So da 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 da, da 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 dum. So you can really feel the connection between those different hand positions. Is your left hand lifting on the rests? Same thing. Connect with the left hand. Lift with the right. that's a pretty good practice tempo. I'm not going to do it again at that tempo. What you could do, I would do this in the classrooms. I would ask half the class to play just the right hand, the other half to play the left hand, so you're getting the gist of the piece without having to think about everything all together. So you can go back to whatever that was, the past 40 seconds or something, and just replay that a couple times. Maybe do the right hand, then do the left hand, try it all together, whatever you'd like. That was a pretty slow practice tempo, so it should be a little bit quicker. That's more like a performance tempo, so keep that in mind. Maybe I won't find the metronome marking for it now, but you can listen to that, take out your metronome, and check what that is. That's something you should be aiming for the exam. And lastly, the reminder just to continue with your sight reading through stages 1 and 2, and we'll get to the rest next week. Also a reminder, you can sign up for private office hour appointments with me during class time for a 10 or 20 minute session. There is a lot of availability, so please take advantage of that. We can just talk about your technique, in addition to maybe some issues you may be having about the pieces. But if you just want to play scales and chords with me, we can also work through any technical problems you might be experiencing personally. All right, good luck with everything this week. Happy practicing, everybody.